My name is Ross Black, and I'm the founder and CEO of Get Simple Box. We specialize in the delivery of shipping containers used for portable storage at homes and job sites and businesses.
So what's the difference between you and Pops?
It's the service. If you just scroll through reviews, often their customers, they can't get a hold of them.
The franchise hot seat is for information and entertainment purposes and is not an offer to sell franchises. If the hot seat introduces you to a franchise concept that interests you, you must do your own due diligence before making an investment. Welcome to the Franchise Hot Seat. I'm your host, John Hayes, Director of the Franchise Center at Palm Beach Atlantic University. On today's episode of the Franchise Hot Seat, we feature a concept to be evaluated by our dream team. Let me introduce you to the dream team. CEO of United Franchise Group, Ray Titus. Managing Partner at Planet Fitness Midwest, John Clancy. MPK Equity Partners, Patrick McGee. Owner of Budget Blinds of West Palm Beach and Jupiter, Wendy Dunn. First up in the hot seat.
We've never worked with anyone who would say that things are the most important to them. It's always about their relationships and the way that they use their time. It's kind of crazy. Called Simple Box, we really have just one product or one type of thing that we offer, but we use it in several different ways. We help people move and store their things so that they can focus on the things that matter most and the work that they do best. To have several weeks to be able to just move at your own pace and just pack things up well and pack things up with care. It's just less stressful.
My husband and I have moved 5 times in 13 years. Those 3 times of moving, of just trying to get a convoy of trucks and having everything ready on one day, all at once, it's just a nightmare. Whereas when you get a Simple Box, you have the next 2 weeks to unpack it. Moving is really stressful, and Simple Box takes that stress out of it.
Having a workspace where you got room to lay out your plans for the project that you're working on, have a crew kind of gather for a safety meeting or for lunch break, and still having the functionality of a box with 2 big cargo doors where they could load a bunch of supplies, lock it up at night on construction sites. That's where a box just works perfect. Container modifications, where we convert a simple box into a fully functioning workspace.
I purchased the Simple Box because I wanted to have a studio, a place where people could just step inside, everything's set up, turn the equipment on, and away you go. Talking with the customization crew out there at Simple Box, they said, well, we can put something together for you to fit what you need it for. The gap between the idea and actually making it happen is where Simple Box came in.
By helping them take care of their things in a way that's simple and efficient, they're able to really focus in on those things that matter most.
Gentlemen, welcome to Franchise Hot Seat. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company?
Yeah, thanks so much. My name is Ross Black, and I'm the founder and CEO of Get Simple Box.
And my name is Daniel Plard, and I'm the head of marketing and sales at Get Simple Box.
We specialize in the delivery of shipping containers used for portable storage at homes and job sites and businesses. I started the company as a senior class project in high school. I sold my 1968 Ford Mustang Fastback, turned that into a small mini storage warehouse, and since then we've expanded to 7 locations serving Washington, Oregon, and Arizona. And we're working through franchise to expand to all 50 states. Portable storage works great for our customers because it helps them make wise decisions. It really takes the rush out of decision making when it comes to moving or building. And rather than cramming everything into one crazy day or week or multiple trips back and forth to a warehouse, it just lets them pack and move at their own pace.
One of the things that makes us unique against our competitors is that we offer many services within our space, and we also are customer centric. And so the big issues that we see in our space is that everything is over geofence, which means they might deliver a box to your house, but not your neighbor's house. They also offer limited services at most competitors. Usually it's just renting and moving. And the other side of it is that it's a very corporately call center feel, so that customer satisfaction is really left out. At Get Simple Box, we have strong brand awareness, we're customer centric, and we have mastered operational excellence.
When I started the company, even as a high school student, I knew I wanted something that would scale. And so about 7 years after that first location started, then we added the next location, and then that's grown to 7 locations in multiple states. The reason that this will work as a franchise is because we've identified just several core processes that can be duplicated by a local team in really any state. And we've developed a profitable business model that we can run from a distance even. For instance, our original location is in Linden, Washington, and I literally couldn't be any farther away from Linden than I am here today, and that business continues to thrive without me, just as more of a passive investor. One of the things that we know, and we're just kind of sensing with our customers, is that they really want to do business with a local company. They want to know who's going to be providing the service, and they want to know that their dollars are staying in the community. And so with franchise, we have that opportunity to provide excellent local operation and delivery with strong national support.
The number one thing that attracts franchisees to our model is our multiple revenue streams. And so, like we mentioned before, we offer many services. And so the first one is rental, which is just long-term residual income. We also do purchasing, which is just selling shipping containers, and that's a huge part of our revenue. We also do modification, so we can actually modify and create each container to anybody's specifications. And we also have moving, which, as you all know, 30 million people move per year, and 25% of that will be long-distance move, which is a huge opportunity for us. In addition to that, each of our locations with all those revenue streams can make upwards of $1 million and only need 2 employees to run, making it a very simple business.
Our ideal franchisee is someone that's family-oriented, wants to be a strong leader in the community, and someone that understands the desire to build up that kind of monthly residual rental income. And they've got to have some capital to invest. It's capital intensive, so minimum requirement of over $500,000 to get started. So there's that requirement for sure.
And so we're here today to really just get your insight on how we can expand to 50 states across the thing, and we want to make sure we do it right. The 3 main things that we're focusing on is the marketing side. How do we market to the right franchisees? From the finance side, what are some of the financial opportunities we should look at for investing? And what is and so for a company that's been operating for more than 25 years, how do we make the jump from a predominantly corporately ran business to now an all-in franchisee? Our business is Get Simple Box, and thank you for having us today.
Emerging franchisors frequently face this problem. How do we build enough opportunity into this business to attract a franchisee and help that franchisee earn enough money? Get Simple Box not only rents these boxes, they sell them. You can convert them, put one in your backyard and use it as a studio. Might be a great idea. Let's get back to the program.
Appreciate it. You said you make $1 million per unit. Can you give me an idea what this unit economics looks like?
Yeah, so we've got 7 locations total in the organization. We'll do a little over $10 million total revenue, all locations combined. Our newest location is in Phoenix, Arizona. They're still in the middle of their 2nd year, and they'll do about $1.5 million this year. Our Washington kind of region, consists of 3 locations, and we'll do just under $7 million this year.
In that $1.5 million unit, what is your EBITDA margin?
We're on the 1.5. It is starting out. It's at 12%, and our range of EBITDA across the board is between 12 to 18.
So, what would you say is the differentiator between you and those other people out there that we'll say the PODS?
Yeah,
okay.
that's right.
It's not a curse word here.
I know.
Is it?
Yeah. No, they're incredible. They've done such a good job of just showing the possibility, and we get constantly people calling asking for one of those, And
So what's the difference between you and Pods?
it's the service. If you just scroll through reviews, often their customers, they can't get a hold of them. They're calling, thinking they're talking to the local, the Miami location. It's routed to a call center up in New Jersey, and you're on hold for an hour. And it's just incredibly frustrating for that customer to think that, I thought I saw the local guy deliver it. How come I can't get in touch with someone to help me now? And so we definitely are that local, owned and operated.
It's not the customization. Like
It's-
I would have jumped like,
Correct.
how do you break down your revenue from
Yeah.
streams? So rental, sales, and customization. How does it break down from
Yeah.
revenue?
So we're about 60% of our revenue comes from sales, container sales. And so that's what gives us the opportunity to in first year, $1 million revenue, which is unique for a business just starting up, just with a couple people, And then we're about 20% are on the rentals, and that'll increase over the years, as you build up that fleet. Our average rental fleet across all locations, about 275 units per location. And that other company, they have about 5,000 rental units per state. So there's plenty of room for continued growth there, even against that competition. And then the final 20% is a mix of the deliveries, the customization, accessories, and the long distance moving.
So it seems like that customization business would be very different than the other part of the business.
Yeah.
And so is that operationally intensive? I mean, do you have to hire like a different group of people to do that? And I guess, is it worth it?
Yeah, cool. Great question. I wonder that sometimes myself. Just like Pods, they've made such a name for the industry, and on the customization side of things, you scroll through channels, HGTV, and you see customize my shipping container beach house, and people, it's kind of just kind of help people realize, wow, there's more that can be done with these things. The reality is, we're not the best ones to do that beach house, and we don't have engineers on the team and things like that. But we can do, just like our name says, just simple modifications: add a door, a window, a roll-up, extra ventilation, and it just provides extra functionality. So a lot of our customers, they might reach out to us initially saying like, "Hey, build me a tiny house," and it does create that interest. We want to watch out that we don't get stuck with looky-loos, just wasting our time on it. But when we can let them know, hey, what we do best is just add extra functionality, especially in more of an industrial setting, or we just need a workspace.
And so I guess that's integral to your box sales business, is that ability to customize the box? Is that...
It's pretty minuscule for it's an add-on, I'd say. Yeah.
'Cause I guess I was surprised hearing you describe your business that only 20% of the business is the rental, and the moves, and it sounds like that this really is a box storage or a box sales and modification business.
I'd say it's the long game on the rentals. It takes a few years of having them rented out to pay themselves off. And then at that point, you've got just this good monthly kind of, it's just an engine that keeps running. Our average customer is with us for 7 months, but when you think of how many hundreds of units we have out with moving customers that really are using it for a week or more, our average customer is really with us closer to a year. And so I just love the idea of having a business where someone calls and signs up once, and we keep getting that kind of monthly rental income. But it is a portion of what we do, and the sales. We enjoy it because it keeps the trucks running. It keeps the office is hopping. People are coming and going, and I think it shows that there's more than one thing that can be done. It's just a simple box, right? But you can buy it if you knew you were going to keep it long term. You can pick it up and move it somewhere else. We can pick it up later and consign it for you, and it's just got a long lifespan.
So if I'm a franchisee, where am I storing all these pods, and what kind of startup do I have to have? How many containers do I have to buy? What does that $500,000 cover?
Yeah.
Is that the truck to move the pods as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You need a minimum of 1 acre, 1 to 2 acres of zoned industrial property, depending on the like county zoning requirements. Sometimes the general commercial will work for that as well. It is something that we feel it's kind of an added bonus for someone to really focus on the storage franchise, But over time, that business is paying the mortgage, or long term, you're able to own some property, often in the path of progress, without major development needed. So 1 to 2 acres. Like I say, the average across all of our locations is about 275 rental fleet units, and the goal would be to keep cranking that up to 300, 400, 500 rental units. You're starting out with a minimum of 100 rental fleet units, and that the pricing has fluctuated quite a bit. It's largely dependent on the price of steel. Seeing the price of steel come down a little bit right now. But so most likely that if you were starting today, you'd be looking at 100 units would cost you about $350,000 to $400,000, and then you've got a forklift. We buy the deck for the truck, the delivery system, but the truck could be a leased truck as well. So you'd say $100,000 brand new truck.
So do you allow the franchisees to do advertising on these structures?
No. So I mean, we have our own brand on that, and I don't think that's something we've looked into.
Because
using like a billboard?
I'm saying that you drop this thing in front of somebody's house.
We never drop. We always gently place
it. Okay. But in my eyes, I see an opportunity for real estate agents to advertise on that in the neighborhood. I would go right for that. I've actually had meetings with pods about that.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, and it just didn't materialize because they really had so many. And
although if you were my neighbor, I would be annoyed if you put a pod in your driveway right next to me, and I'd be really annoid if the real estate agent's face was on the side every day.
Well, it's only a week, Patrick, so don't worry about it.
Right.
But I'm not as worried about Patrick, my neighbor, as I am about the franchisee having another opportunity to make some money, because some of these are in front of commercial real estate. They could be in front of a strip center. We use it to ship a franchise package where it gets delivered right to the front of their door, and sometimes the build out isn't done. So a Signorama opens up, which is one of our brands, and everything they need is inside that container, and we're able to leave it there. And sometimes it takes a couple extra days or whatever for the build out. You don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely. You just have time, right?
Yeah.
And it definitely is a huge canvas for doing branding. So I definitely don't want to devalue the brand or cause any kind of confusion. Wait a minute, do I call the realtor to book it, or do I call Get Simple Box? But what we do quite a bit of is work with restoration companies, and often they'll buy a fleet of them. They count on us to contract out all their deliveries. We pick it up and move it from, if someone's had a flood or a fire, we pick it up, deliver it to that place. It just provides instant space for them to come in and get start sorting through what can be restored, and so they will brand those.
When you sell those boxes, do you make it contingent upon them not renting them?
No.
Could you be actually producing your own competitors in markets where you're there? If I came in and bought 20 of them and then I started renting them?
Possibly. It's scaling. I mean, here again, we work hard we're at 20 some years into this, and still 20% of our revenue is on the rental side of things. There's some things, I think there's a little bit of a fear factor of, I don't have to get into the repo business, or how do I set up automated monthly billing, and so I think there's some of those things. In business, you can be the first, the best, the biggest, or the only. And in some cases, we probably are the first, and we're already doing it so well, the best, that they would say, and they're not going to be the only as well. So they leave you guys to do what you do best. And again, being local, I think, is huge, because it's like, hey, we will support you in your business. We're here to make you look good. Often on a job site, we're the first one that shows up. It's us, a porta potty, and a kind of rental fence company, and we show up and get them started. And then it feels like progress has been made. They could take months before ground actually breaks, and then we're often the last one to get called to pick up.
Can you walk us through how you market this, who you market it to, and how much as a percentage of revenue you're spending?
Okay, on the local, like the direct to customer, right? Not the franchise side of things. Yeah. Do you want to give some?
On the local side, so a predominant of our marketing spend is spent on Google advertising and that one because it's high intent. And so right now our customer acquisition on Google Ads is about between $70 and $85, and that's really on sales. We just started rental, like the rental landing pages and rental side of that. And so we're still getting those numbers back as far as that goes.
So you're just starting rental advertising now?
For breaking up big campaigns. Yeah, we used to do campaigns where it was all combined, and then as we went further, we wanted to get more specific data, so we broke up those campaigns, and specifically for Google advertising.
What do you buy a container for, and what do you sell it for?
Yeah, good question. It fluctuates. The good news is I don't think we've ever sold one for less than we bought it for, and we have containers we bought 22 years ago that are still in our rental fleet. They're still they're called one trippers. They've made one trip across the ocean, and so they're not getting beat up, traveling around the world. Average of over the years, the average has probably been about $2,700 for a brand new 20-foot standard container that we have kind of outfitted with our logo, special easy open door handle, so you're not fighting with the door, extra ventilation, lockbox to cover over the padlock, just to provide some extra security. And then we are always aiming for minimum of 35% markup, probably about a maximum of 50% though. It's very rare, unless we're selling a box that's been in our rental fleet. We bought it for $2,000 and now the market's shifted and there's an opportunity to sell it for quite a bit more. But in those cases, we love to just keep that rental asset.
Didn't we have a shortage of shipping containers last year? And is that still going on?
It is the most knee-jerk reaction. The supply chain is just working perfectly until all of a sudden it's not, right? And that one Evergrande container ship in the Suez Canal, it's like, how does that affect my business? But at some point I was wanting to book a flight to Egypt to start digging, because it was unbelievable just how that supply chain can get messed up so quickly. It is getting more on track, I'd say. The shortage did lead to a pretty significant increase in price. It didn't necessarily lead to a decrease in desire to buy. Our rental fleet just kind of those numbers just keep turning along. Kind of as to your question, it's between Google Ads, Google My Business, just optimizing that for local SEO. But we do make some decisions at time to time. We love having that sale box go out there, and at the same time, that's one customer, see you later. Hope we maybe get a chance to move it again 2 years in the future. We always defer to a rental because, especially as the supply starts shrinking, we can increase our rent rates.
So I could characterize your goals as you want to bring up that 20% rental number because you think that's the future of your business?
Yeah, absolutely.
So go over again how you're marketing for the rental business and how much money you're putting into it.
Yeah, a recent campaign is reaching out more directly to subcontractors, epoxy flooring, garage floor companies, the restoration companies, the realtors, just making those connections at the local level. Again, this is things that's hard to do from a distance because you're not even going to get past the secretary. So equipping our general manager locally to go to the Chamber of Commerce, meet and greet as much as possible. We do some home shows where you never know, is it really worthwhile? You spend a weekend there and everyone just wants to grab the free candy or whatever, but just being out in the community and then the Google Ads for sure is.
Give me a ballpark, a percentage of revenues that you're spending on marketing, and then what are you spending on that rental market that you really want to build up?
Yeah, I would say that from the spend standpoint, we're probably spending between 60 and 70% on the sales side, and about 25 to 30% on the rental side.
On the spent for Google Ads.
Google Ads specifically,
and then company-wide, we're about 3%, 4% is spent specifically for marketing for paid advertising.
Okay, so if you want to build up, just
that rental fleet,
just throwing it out there.
Do it.
You want to build up the rental from 20 to 50.
Yeah.
But you're only spending 20 to 30.
Correct.
On the rental. So
why not, right? Yeah.
I know. Look, I know why you're doing it. All right, but always understand what your long-term goals are is almost always exposed in your marketing budget.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
So you need to be honest with yourself. Do you really want to grow that number?
Yeah.
Or are you addicted to the short-term rush of the sale?
Interesting.
Because if you're 60% of your business is selling units, why aren't you going after the market that has the most profitability for you?
Yeah.
So if I was a franchise looking at you, because I'm a franchisee, but if I'm looking at your model, I'm saying, are you spreading yourself too thin with 4 different concepts, where if you should be going for revenue in the market that you're actually very successful in and concentrating on that?
Yeah.
Because what is your plan to market to a potential franchisee, and how are you going to support all of those things?
Yeah, I think that is probably one of the most significant things that we're here to gain your insight on. We've got ideas of how to market to a franchisee, and at the same time, maybe a little bit sticker shock personally on, okay, that's a $500,000 or more investment.
I think you're kind of in a catch-22.
Yeah.
Okay, because as far as I know, Pods doesn't sell the pods.
Correct. Yeah.
They only rent.
Yeah.
That's why they sell a lot. That's why they rent so many, because that's the only thing they offer.
Yeah.
You guys are differentiating yourself by selling them.
Yeah.
But I think you may be hurting your own market by selling them and not renting them.
Well, also, very important, are you at the same rental rate as Pods? I have a Pod sitting in front of my house.
I know.
Right? If you were working in Jupiter and you contacted me and I leased from you instead of Pods, am I paying less, or is it a commodity?
You're paying less.
I'm paying less.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have to really concentrate more, in my humble opinion, on building up that rental business, but having the courage to put the money to it.
Yeah.
So a pod looks different, though, than a shipping container.
Correct,
and
yeah.
So sort of John, he's got a pod in his house. Is a shipping container providing the exact same thing that a pod would? Or is
He's going to hate this. It's 33% bigger, more secure. A pod, you could probably break into it with a
you
can
have
opener.
the competitive advantage there.
I
That's
know.
what you guys have to.
Yeah, and I think this is the tension sometimes when you start small farm town, started as a high school kid. It's like, oh, what in the world have I got myself into? And you kind of doubt your concept, and especially that our first market, they're like, I know you, you're Dave's kid, but now we're in Phoenix, and that's very different. We really could roll in with a lot more, not pride, but just some courage and enthusiasm, like you say.
Because you're on your website, you're an advertisement for Pods on your website. Because you're doing everything that you're doing, you're telling the other story of what Pods is doing, whether it's better and you're doing it better. But when I was on your website, I kept saying Pods, 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 Pods. I want to know how you're doing it better and why you have to keep mentioning their name if you're doing it better.
Correct. The reason why
is it's a mistake.
Okay.
You don't ever put your competitor's name on your website.
Yeah.
That's a mistake. Okay?
Yeah.
Get rid of that, okay? Just focus on, is there a way that you guys could add, what are those when you're doing your yard, when you put in the dumpsters, the dumpster?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Is there a way that you could add that to your, because that's become a pretty big business as well.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, there probably is a way, a little bit of a different truck setup. I'm sure it could be modified in some way. The rental fencing, I think, is the type of thing, we're delivering an empty box already. You load that thing full of rental fence, and that's a kind of an easy 1-2 punch. The other one going smaller is rental like tubs, it's like a Rubbermaid tote type thing. We're using all the trademark lingo here, but renting those out for especially document storage, a strategic kind of office move where they want a secure tub, not a cardboard banker's box that they're all.
But all that stuff is just making your business more complex.
Yeah, I know.
And your training needs, more complex, and it's clear that there's a market there for what you guys are doing and doing well. And so, I think you're already chasing a couple of different opportunities that I think I would advise focus on those 3 or even a subset of that versus trying to add on more offerings.
Yeah. Okay. This is good.
It's probably really good advice. I just kind of look at what differentiates you when your competitors have a nationwide reach, and they can use it and drop it off, and what's the differentiator here?
Yeah.
And that's what I would be looking for.
I've thought about, from the kind of that simple brand concept, could the Get Simple box be the box, maybe the big box and the small tote, Could you then have Get Simple moving help, or is there some other truly separate entities, but they all work in conjunction together? But again, it could be extra training, extra labor, especially if you're hoping that this delivery driver, customer service rep at a local level is
I think Patrick's right. You need to like literally look at where you're not making money and stop doing those things, and where you can make money and do more of those things. And again, having the courage to put that money in your marketing budget to where you know it needs to go in your heart. It's never a good idea to make decisions based out of fear. Right. So get rid of that and say, you're going for it anyway. Right. You've been in business for 20 years, right? And from the last time we spoke on the phone, you didn't even know what an EBITDA margin is. Now you guys are like this.
There we go.
So you have what it takes. You just might need a little bit of direction and a little. And once you get that direction and that courage, you guys could be off. Because what do you think your margins would go to if you were 60% rental? They'd go up.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. So yeah. And it does become kind of an easier business to operate. Everyone, they love moving with us. I mean, each one of you have moved before. Nobody thinks, oh, good, today's my day to move. You're happy when you're done moving. You're excited about moving, but the actual moving process is just the worst. Nobody, everyone thinks that it's going to be a bad experience.
One more thing I'll tell you. When you're a commodity, which is what you are.
Correct.
You're right. You and Pods, you're a commodity. You're 33% bigger and cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay. Just explain that to the public.
I know. Well, the head of marketing is going to be thrilled because I'm going to have to take the reins off for sure. So,
well, there's got to be a reason that the largest competitors in your field are all just renting.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? When they're there, that's because that's where the money's at.
Yeah.
So if I Googled, buy a storage container, would you guys pop up?
Some keywords for sure. The definitely local, like Phoenix container rental type of thing, Salem storage container. We definitely are right at the top for some longer tail keywords. 40-foot shipping container ends up being a keyword. It's like without a ton of extra focus on our part over the years, it has risen.
And could I, if I wanted to just buy one container, could I buy that container from the guys that you were buying it from?
Not likely. You're going to probably get advertised a lot, but my dad refers to them as the villains of Craigslist. They just post stuff everywhere. They're not local. They often take the money and run, and then they call us, or they do somehow get a container, but nobody does their own deliveries, and so they get a container, it gets put cockeyed on your driveway, and then the guy's gone. They can't get a hold of anybody, so then they call us and ask, hey, any chance you guys can get this thing straight?
If I was doing this, if I was standing over there, okay?
Yeah.
I would be setting this up as I would sell these only for a limited amount of time while I get some cash flow to keep the thing going until I could get to a point where I could only do rental.
Yeah.
But I would make my franchise owners, I would say, you can only sell these for the first 2 years you're in business. Okay. After that, it's all rental, 100%. And force them to go into the rental business where the real profit is.
But the moving part is that he only has 3 states. So how are you planning on going? I mean, you can only move people within the 3 states that you're in right now. So how are you going to expand that?
Yeah, and that's through franchise. It could be the fourth leg of the stool, not to complicate, by adding a whole nother element, but there are some kind of, just freeways basically that we see a lot from Washington State and Arizona. They move back and forth. Same from Washington to Hawaii and then Nevada. There's just this kind of common connection there. And so that's where we do want to get more strategic. This is a great opportunity on the margin side. Southern California, everyone's fleeing there, heading to Phoenix and Texas, and we pay money to move empty boxes to Phoenix. If we were starting in LA area, then they would.
How many phone calls are you? How many calls do you have where you say no, we don't service that area?
Oh, it's painful. It's painful. Yeah.
And to your point, how are you going to have a franchise owner make an investment in the storage facility in Florida, but then it gets dropped off in Arizona, and the local franchise owner in Arizona then takes it?
Oh, we've got a pretty good arrangement because there's quite a bit of a markup on the long distance transport, which we actually do use a subcontracted truck for. And so the local operation starting location, they are getting generally the longest part of the rental and the biggest portion of the long distance trucking, and then the receiving yard is getting a box that they didn't necessarily have to pay any shipping for. So they've got kind of an extra margin on the box that they receive.
But then do they keep the box in Phoenix?
Yeah, and we do either a swap of like an asset swap, basically. Hey, I've got one coming your way, you got one headed my way. Let's trade them, or you just buy it. We're constantly this again with the sales. It does help. Instead of saying, hey, I only have 250 units and I want to get to 260 by the end of the month, we're saying, hey, we've got 800 units. We're going to be moving through.
I don't think we're saying you don't sell. We're saying that you put your effort toward renting more.
Yeah.
I don't want you to go down in revenue, right?
Yeah.
But put your marketing efforts toward renting more because you know that's your more profitable business.
Yeah.
Have you broken down, like the modification like Patrick alluded to? I just think that's probably getting in your way at this point.
Yeah.
Have you broken down your margins on moving and rental and purchase? Because those are really your three keys.
Correct. The purchase, again, it's that quick hit.
Very small margin.
It is quite easy to it's quite easy to do. So it's.
Are you under 10% on that?
It'll be more than that for sure. Yeah. But not more than 20 for sure. And then the rental again is just that long game. Like over the course of 24 to 36 months, you've got the box paid for. You could take good max depreciation on it to start out. But
you're answering your own
know.
question here.
I'm
You know what to
backing
do.
into Yeah.
We just had to push you there.
Yeah. No, it's wonderful.
Would there be a way to centralize like the buying and selling aspect at the corporate level? And like have you guys handle that nationwide, that if I call up in Dallas to buy a container, you guys get it to me and just let your franchisees focus on, I guess they could buy from you, and sell to you, but they focus on the rental piece?
Okay, that's an awesome idea because if ever there was a spot where a call center could work, we take. I mean, our customer service is. I know everyone thinks their service is the best. Our customer service just far exceeds every other company where you might call and say buy a shipping container or rent a container, and we take photos all the way around the box and highlight dings and dents and stuff like that. But that's all uploaded into our server, and so from a call center type location, you could handle all of that. Hey, I can get you pictures of this exact unit. I know exactly where it is. Here's the price, and you could have your local team just
and you could pay to the extent that your local team is driving sales. You pay them a commission. But you could just centralize that selling effort,
and that frees your franchisees up to doing what they should be doing.
And what you would need on something like that though is to establish some kind of cash. Lending institution for the franchise owners. I don't know if you have that. If you've established a finance company of any kind or with somebody.
We have not. And that is one of the things that when I think of our ideal operator, it is someone that loves, they even love driving a truck, or they love, it's a truck driver with $1 million. And those don't often go together. And so I would love the thought of having an operator who maybe pays the franchise fee, plus they bought into that rental fleet, or maybe the franchise fee and the equipment that's needed for delivery, but then some sort of a equipment lending company partnership or something like that could
So you have any franchisees right now?
Started all these years ago, had a friend of ours that was in ministry and was just coming out of kind of a tough season and loved what we do. We get constantly, people are saying like, oh my goodness, monthly rental income, you must just be sitting back enjoying living the life or whatever. But he reached out and he was ready to make a move. And so we said, well, let's just get you set up with a location. So he invested. We have a franchise agreement, but that's in Washington State. Had no clue this is a registration state. I didn't even know. We called it a dealer. We called it a dealership at the time. Yeah. And so then I'm reading a book on franchising recently because I thought, hey, this is the way I live in Florida, my main business in Washington. Let's start filling in the gaps. And then I get, halfway through the first chapter and realize like, oh my goodness, I am I'm franchising and I shouldn't be doing that in Washington State. I don't know how I did it. I won the SBA award for Small Business Person of the Year in Washington, and SBA would probably not necessarily love the way that we've got this kind of backed into it. But
you wouldn't be the first one.
Okay, yeah. So we're hustling just to get it done.
We appreciate
right.
it, and guys, great job. Really appreciate your business model, the way you articulated it, and I think you've gotten a good direction just out of the conversation here. But Wendy, you want to kind of start it off?
Sure. I would probably say that I am medium on your franchise, only because I think your buy-in price is pretty hefty. From a Floridian standpoint of where I have my office down here, I would think it would be probably very challenging to find an acre of land anywhere in Palm Beach County right now to store that many containers. But I do think that the rental market is where you need to be. The moving market seems really, really just too large for you right now. I think you have to concentrate on figuring out where your lane is going to be. I mean, obviously doing sales is not really a franchise viable concept, but renting I'm sure is. And the customer service, I would definitely go local if I had that option versus pods. So I think your heart's in the right place. So I think you have some work to do, but I think it's definitely viable.
Guys, I like your concept. I think there's some tweaks that need to be made to this to make it really franchisable. I would say I'm hot on this concept with the qualification that some changes need to be made to take it to the level that you want to take it. And I would probably sub out the customization to somebody else and get a little piece of that. I would probably add one of those other dumpsters or whatever and give that as far as rental income. And but I think you've got some simple choices for Simple Box that you could really get this thing going.
Yeah, I'm right now I'm cold with a caveat. Okay, I'm cold because I don't think you guys are ready to go where you need to go. And I think the last 20 years or something, you guys know that, right? So you need some real help, franchise structure, and you need to hook up with someone like the gentleman to my right, right? You need a very specific and focused game plan. What we talked about, concentrating and having the guts to market on where you're going to make money, right?
Yeah.
And if you have that with, in my opinion, the right franchise coach, like a Ray Titus, someone hooking up with someone that really knows what they're doing, I think I could, in 6 months from now, we could have the same conversation and I'll be hot.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because I love the rental.
Yeah.
I love that part of the business.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd say I'm medium on kind of the franchise side at the time being, you know, for many of the reasons that have already been set up here. But I'm hot on you guys. You guys are great entrepreneurs or hustlers, and we'll figure this out and continue to refine and grow your business. And so, you know, I think John's right that in 6 months we could be looking at a rocket ship, and it will be fun to see that happen.
Awesome. Thank you. I thought it was awesome. We came here because we knew we would get good strategic advice and wisdom, and we need it, and that's exactly what we got.
It was just awesome to just throw our business model out there and then have them give their thoughts on that. It was just super informational.
I'd say we were dabbling in some campaigns and dabbling in some support tools for local, general manager to run with.
Leaning into we've been saying it, and it's we know that's the right move, and it's just actually doing it and putting the money where their mouth is and doing it.
Thanks for joining us for the Franchise Hot Seat. And remember, our purpose is to inform and educate. We are not selling franchises. Do your homework before investing in any business. Franchising is a powerful methodology for business ownership, and it may be the best way for you to own a business and build personal wealth. But franchising is not without risk, and it's not for everyone. Some quick thank yous to our sponsors. Transworld Business Advisors is the world leader in the marketing and sales of businesses, franchises, and mergers and acquisitions. They've got 240 offices worldwide. Accurate Franchising is a full-service consulting and development agency that helps franchise companies develop their brands and then expand via franchise sales. Crank Enterprises is a venture marketing company introducing a modern-day twist to private equity. Their mission: turn ideas into dough. You want to sit in the franchise hot seat, or do you have a question for the Titus Center? Contact me at tituscenter.com. I'm John Hayes, leading the Titus Center for Franchising, where we're educating the next franchise generation.